So I am a 29 male. I don't currently have a solid interest in having kids, nor am I opposed to the idea. I guess I have that if it happens attitude to the thought. I have a friend I knew since high school. For the sake of things, I'll call him Larry, who I was very close to. I would call him my brother. I was also close to his son, Zach. He'd call me Uncle Dan. Larry and I had a tendency to talk about a lot of subjects, but the one relative to this story was what happens to Zach once Larry's gone. Larry is cut off from his family due to the fact he came out as an atheist. He is from a devout Christian family. He'd always say that he'd want Zach to go to me should he die. The time came sooner than I thought. Poor Larry lost a battle with cancer. Since then, Zach has been staying with me, and honestly, it has helped me through this. He starts calling me Dad now, and we've become even closer than before. I was happy to call this little boy my son. One time, my sister, who was also friends with Larry, came over and said she was happy that Zach is back up and running and that he's going to love it at her place. I just assumed at that time that she meant he was going to like coming over there sometimes. Just 3 days ago, I went to a family function hosted by my uncle with a lot of people, including my sister there. My sister later came over to me and asked how Zach was doing. I said he's fine. Then she asked me the most perplexing question that spurred this entire crap show. She asked me when Zach would be coming to live with her. I asked her what she was talking about, and she said that 6 months is too long of a temporary settlement for Zach, and he should be fine by now to come with her. I said he was living with me full time, and that caused her to short circuit for a bit and then explode. She said that that isn't fair on her, as she was closer to Larry than I was. Sure, during high school. And that I never wanted kids anyway. She then proceeded to scream that I know she's infertile and that Zach was her only chance to have kids. She said this in front of everyone, might I add. That took a few seconds to process, and then flat out told her that what she said was just messed up. I said that she clearly only saw Zach as a way to satisfy her motherhood dreams, not as a human being. That caused her to start crying, and my mom shouted at me to get out, to which my uncle said, "No, you and Avery get out," which made them both scream and cry, which forced my brother-in-law and uncle to force them out. After that, a lot of my family members started harassing me via text, calling me an idiot for taking away my sister's only opportunity to be a mother. The only ones on my side are my uncle, brother-in-law, and eldest sister. I know I'm not an idiot for taking in the kid, but I want to know if I was being an idiot for being rude to her like that. You are not the idiot. Zach is not her chance at motherhood. Zach is Zach, a grieving little boy who has fortunately found a new home with a loving guardian and should not be passed around like a trophy in the saddest story competition. Keep up the good work, OP, and I'm sorry for your and Zach's loss. You are not the idiot. Your sister needs help as she is fixated on a child because of her own desire to be a mother. Larry specifically requested you look after the child, not your sister. She created an entire fantasy in her head without ever actually telling anyone. It was a delusion that has taken root because of her desperate desire to be a mother. Adoption is still an option for her, but she is envious that you get to fulfill a parental role without trying, as it was. Holy smokes! The level of entitlement of he's going to love it at my place and when's he going to live with me is appalling. Holy smokes! It doesn't matter how much she wants him for whatever reason. If Larry legally made OP the guardian, that's that. She doesn't get a say, no matter how close she was to Larry. The main part here is not what you or she feels or thinks, but what is best for the child. And your friend decided that for his kid. You are not wrong here. God, I'm so frustrated. And to top it all off, I keep being berated through the door about how much of an idiot I'm being right now. My husband isn't working at the moment. He had to leave his job due to issues with anxiety. I am the breadwinner for our family at the moment. We have a set of baby twins. I told my husband if he wants to quit his job, that's fine, but I expect him to step up and start doing more around the house, as well as caring for our little ones whilst I'm working. He agreed. I thought that was that, but lo and behold, he keeps holding himself up in the bedroom and playing games and leaving the majority of the childcare to me whilst I work, which is near impossible. Today, I had a ridiculously important meeting and have been warning him of it for the past week, saying I can't look after the kids when I'm in the meeting. He kept saying it's fine, it's fine. Well, today came around, and what do you know? He's in the middle of his league game and can't pause. This was minutes before my meeting, so I had to think quick, and I put the girls in the bedroom with him, closed the door, and ran to my office. The meeting went well, but now he won't stop berating me through the bloody door. I absolutely do not want to leave the office right now because I cannot be bothered to deal with him. But at the same time, I feel insanely guilty, and I know I should have done something else instead of just putting them in the bedroom with him. I do feel like a bit of an idiot. Am I one for locking myself in the office, practically forcing my husband to take care of the kids? Husband is in therapy for his anxiety and does take medication, which definitely seems to be working. Comparing where he was a year ago and now, there is a positive difference. Why not just be a single parent? At least then, you'd only have 2 kids to provide for, rather than 3. I'm not asking this in jest. Ask him seriously what he brings to the table, because if you have to be the breadwinner and the only child carer, then he literally serves no purpose. Sell his games console or lock it away, and make sure he can't access your funds. I typically think of a working spouse's income as being family money, but only if the stay-at-home parent actually is parenting. You are not the idiot. Oh, no. He can pause. This isn't a paying gig. He can absolutely turn off the stupid game and take care of his kids, especially when he knew for a whole entire week that picking up the game at that time was going to be a problem. So starting it up in the first place was a deliberate attempt to foist handing them off to you. He doesn't get to be mad that it backfired. I agree with everyone else that this cannot continue. Maybe your husband is more depressed than usual due to his condition, but shutting himself away and playing video games is not a healthy coping mechanism, and dodging his responsibilities to you and the kids is not okay. You are not the idiot, OP. You are all idiots here. He is being awful for not living up to his end of the agreement. What you're doing now, though, locking yourself in your office and either ignoring him or else fighting with him through the door, not sure what you're doing, is incredibly childish and nasty. You both need to grow up and use your words. My parents and I have a difficult relationship. They see me as some kind of walking disaster, especially since I came out as queer. Yesterday, we went out to a neighboring harbor for a walk, and I had black dungarees on with my Doc Martens, and there was still some green in my hair from when I dyed it. And oh boy, I could see the disappointment in their eyes. They don't like going out in public with me unless I'm looking 100% normal. It seems like my appearance and my personality seems to be the big issue that causes all the arguments in my house. I hung a pride flag up in my room, and my mom tried to convince me to take it down. They get annoyed at me for dyeing my hair. I've only done it twice, and it was a washout dye. They don't like me wearing boots or black, or my fake piercings. They don't like me listening to metal or rock. And my mom has even gone so far to tell me what my own favorite bands are. Petty, yes, but we move on. I like to think I'm a half-decent person. I'm by no means perfect, but I'm not aggressive, and I try to treat everyone with the same respect I want afforded to me. I've never been in trouble with the law, or smoked or drank. I do some volunteering, and I've set up a support group for students. I have a small group of friends who seem to like me, and lots of my fellow students want to talk to me. So all in all, I don't think I'm too bad. But my parents think differently. We got into an argument yesterday. I left my boots outside because they had sand on them from the beach, and I didn't want to trek it inside my home. Mom started yelling at me about taking care of my belongings, the usual. It got more heated, and the more she insulted me, the angrier I got. And this happens extremely rarely, because last time I did it, I was slapped. I told her to shut up and stop treating me like I was some kind of failure. And what kind of problem did she have with me? I let her have it about how I know what they think of my appearance and how they looked at me when we went to the harbor. I told her she was a hypocrite for having the nerve to look at her gay friends in the eyes and tell them that she didn't hate them. I told her that if she had any decency at all, she'd sit down and listen to what I had to say about stuff that upsets me rather than yelling at me. I regretted it instantly. She just looked so heartbroken and upset. She asked me if she was a good mother, and when I hesitated, she started crying. Now she's being kind of distant with me, and I genuinely feel terribly. I have this massive ball of guilt in my stomach. I've tried apologizing for what I said, but she doesn't say anything back. You are not the idiot here. Your parents treated you like hot garbage, and afterward, expected your gratitude somehow for treating you like garbage. Your mom feels bad because she was behaving poorly and got called out for it. You are not the idiot. You did not go too far. Their conduct and your reaction to it is raising red flags for emotional mistreatment. I'm not sure if the reference to slapping is about a literal strike or if it's a figure of speech, but that is very troubling either way, especially the fact that you don't feel you can get upset without the threat of being slapped. You are not the idiot here. She was berating and insulting you because you left your boots outside instead of getting sand in the house. They judge your appearance and everything you like because it's different than what they like. She's not a good mother and she knows it. Instead of apologizing to you for how she treats you and trying to do better, she's now emotionally manipulating you into feeling guilty and giving you the silent treatment. I'm so sorry you have to live with parents like this. So this is pretty straightforward. I, female 27, recently moved in with my boyfriend, 32, who has a daughter. I love his daughter and she loves me. We get along great and she is very excited to have me around as she begged him to see me more often all the time. There's just one issue. We are all a bunch of picky eaters to varying degrees. We are still working on chore distribution, so we have been random on cooking, though I've been doing about 70% of it. But keep running into the issue of his daughter not wanting to eat what I cook, or liking it but saying it's too spicy. It isn't, but I tend to use more Hispanic seasonings, which give it a kick that she doesn't like. I've tried altering what I cook, but it's definitely still a struggle, and I sometimes end up cooking 2 different meals, and it stresses me out trying to figure out what she will eat. Today he was talking about me changing a few more things about dinner and not using the spices I use when she's around, etc. I said okay, but I asked him, can we make a deal? He asked what I meant, and I told him that maybe we can alternate weeks where we handle dinner. He handles dinner when his daughter is here. He has 50-50 custody, and she lives with us every other week, and I can handle dinner when it's just the 2 of us. I specified that handling dinner could mean cooking or buying takeout. At first he said okay, but I guess he thought about it and changed his mind. He said that it wasn't fair because if he decided he wanted to do takeout sometimes, he would be paying for dinner for 3 people, while if I wanted to do takeout, I would be paying for 2. And this wasn't fair because eating out can get expensive with 3 people. And honestly, I was just like, okay, so you're complaining because you have to pay for your daughter? I love her, and food expenses are one thing I genuinely don't care about. It's human necessity. We have a 60-40 split on groceries because I make more than him, and I even help with their daycare, so I don't see the issue. He got upset and has been grumpy at my response and went to bed acting salty. So now I'm wondering if I am the idiot. He can be very frugal with household expenses, but I also think if he doesn't mind spending on the newest consoles and games, I don't think he should complain about paying for food for his own daughter. The house we live in was inherited by him, and it is completely paid off. I do not pay rent because, well, it's paid off. He asked me to move in. No rent was requested for me, but since I was saving on rent, I am paying for part of daycare and more of the groceries portion because I wanted him to save some money as well, so we could both work on paying down debt before settling down. You are not the idiot. He's genuinely lazy and a mooch, or at the very minimum, stingy with money. What kind of father argues over who pays for his daughter? It's his kid, not yours. God, this entitlement. Definitely, you are not the idiot. If you guys aren't to the point where your money is shared, you shouldn't be responsible for buying his kids' meals. I don't know how he can straight-faced complain about paying for his own child's food. But why are you dating someone who spends his days blatantly thinking of more ways to take advantage of you? Why are your standards so low? What is it about being an awful single father that is so appealing for you? I've been having suspicions about my fiance potentially cheating. She is very protective of her phone and always turns it face down. She gets random calls that she doesn't answer. Anyways, yesterday, my fiance tells me that her and her best friend are going to be staying at her sister's place for the night to take some modeling pictures for her sister's clothing Instagram page. She's done this before, so I didn't have any suspicions, and there are tons of pictures of her on her sister's Instagram page, so no suspicions up to this point. I take her to get her hair done for the pictures. Then I dropped her off so she could get her car and drive to her sister's. Anyways, at 9 p.m., she video calls me for 5 minutes. She tells me that she is so tired and they're not going to take the pictures anymore. Not a single one. I was very confused at this point. She just drove 1 hour to end up not taking any pictures. Both her and her best friend spent hours at the hairstylist fixing up their hair, but they ended up not taking pictures. She then tells me that she is going to go to sleep. She sent me a picture of her sleeping next to her niece. I noticed that when she video called me, she was wearing different pajamas than the ones in the picture. I noticed that her niece had a scratch on her forehead in the picture, and she didn't have that scratch when my fiance video called me. I remember my fiance telling me 1 month ago how her niece got into a little fight in school and got scratched. I basically dug into it and found out it was an old picture. In my country, you can't leave your house from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. because of restrictions. So I slept for a couple of hours, woke up at 5 a.m. and drove all the way to her sister's place. And yes, I got a huge fine for leaving before 6 a.m., but it was totally worth it. When I got there, I couldn't find her car anywhere around her sister's place. I'm just sitting in the car and I don't know what to do. I haven't driven back to my place yet. I want to confront her about all this, but I don't know what is the best way to do it. Seeing as you are there, you might as well confirm it with her sister. It is impossible for her to have left the house before you got there and would confirm your suspicions. It would also show to her family that she has been lying and using them as scapegoats. God, this is a tough one. I'm sorry you're going through this. You have better days ahead of you and know your self-worth. In my eyes, I believe this is unforgivable. I would recommend confronting her in person. You have no choice now. Talk to her like an adult. She isn't instantly cheating. I've read multiple posts where people have thought their partner is cheating when they're planning something big. Talk to her sister. Talk to her. Tell her you want the truth and you know she wasn't at her sister's. But don't just dump all her stuff out when it's not instantly cheating. Update. Yes, I am dumb. I did get cheated on before when I was in a 7-year relationship. Yes, I got engaged too early. I kept calling her with no answer. I decided to leave because I think she figured it out, and I was full of adrenaline. Then it just hit me that I just got cheated on. I broke down. I was going to drink myself to sleep, or probably do something really stupid to myself. Then I called my brother. That's what I usually do when I have bad thoughts, and I'm with him right now. She called me back with video and told me that her best friend borrowed the car. After me and her talked, she sent me screenshots of the conversation with her best friend, stating that she took the car. They had the conversation after I confronted her over video call. Apparently, she was sleeping, and her best friend decided to take the car in the middle of the night without asking her. LOL. When I talked to her on the phone, she was so scared and kept changing some details about the story. She said she wants to see me and talk to me. She is on her way over. I'm just patiently waiting to debunk everything. Update 2. We met up. I broke up with her. When she was talking, she was babbling a lot and changing her story. I had some of my stuff in the trunk of her car. I went to get it, and she wouldn't let me open the trunk. After a lot of arguing, I opened it, found an open bag of her stuff. In the bag, there was a really nice red dress. So that confirmed everything. It's all over.